Rhythm and culture, warfare is the current obsession of my soul. I've said it once, twice, and 1,000 times. It is hard to find one person that doesn't like that song. But guess what? I just found that person. Talk about being a sadist. Midday Dialogue on and running with yours truly, Sam and Gabby, from the city of Port Harcourt. I also have my friend and partner here, Gabby. How you doing?
I didn't know it was your friend.
Oh, I had no idea.
No, I know.
Do you like that song?
Good morning.
Do you like that song?
What kind of question is
That's
that?
a very direct question. Do you like the song?
Yeah, I love the song.
Okay.
I think it has a vibe to it. A little here and there could be better, but it's a beautiful song generally.
I like how you use English language to suit your purpose.
It's a beautiful song. What did I say?
Indeed.
Any differently?
It is.
Well, a very beautiful morning to you. I'm really excited to be here. It's a lovely Tuesday morning, 18 minutes on the clock. The 18th day, actually, the month of June 2019.
And we're counting down to,
We are.
you know, many things
To
happening.
the end of the month, we are counting down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yes.
Kickstarting the show in this hour, Not Too Young to Run, something you've heard countless times, but then we don't talk about it as much because it really does seem like there was a victory in that struggle. But for some reason, we're supposed to highlight that particular campaign. It's an act now, so, you know, we're not fighting for anything. But we've had a couple of people take certain positions around a certain age. And we want to look at that struggle, a vision or a mission. We'll have conversations with a guest telling us as much as we need to know about Not Too Young to Run.
It's 11 o'clock over time for Energy Platform, and at 12 over time for the news, and right afterwards over time for his story.
Lunch hour comes up at 1, and finally at 2, it's Architect's World. That is the package reserved for you. Don't go anywhere.
What is information?
Information is fact provided or learned about something or someone.
How do you see dialogue?
Dialogue is a conversation between two or more people.
Define politics.
Politics is the activity associated with the
And
government.
economy?
Economy is the state of a country or region in terms
For all of this and more, join the Midday Dialogue weekdays, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
Welcome back to the show. Debo Ogundoyi, a 31-year-old lawmaker in Oyo State, and a 34-year-old Abok Nuhu Ayuba, a legislator in Plateau State, have been voted Speaker of their respective state assemblies. Ogundoyi, a member of the People's Democratic Party representing Ibarapa East constituency, was elected Speaker of the House and assumed office on the 10th of June 2019. In the same vein, Ayuba, representing Jos East constituency, was elected Speaker of the Plateau State House of Assembly. Ayuba, a member of the APC, emerged after a month of political horse trading among 8 contenders. It was a hot race between old-timers and first-timers. Unlike Ogundoyi, who is a returning lawmaker, Ayuba is a first-time lawmaker. He is a graduate of the University of Jos and the Plateau State Polytechnic. Ogundoyi was first elected into the House in 2018 after the death of the former Speaker, Michael Adeyemo, from Ibarapa East. Olagunju Ojo from Orire constituency in Ogbomoso was elected Speaker after Adeyemo's demise. Coincidentally, the new Speaker is from the late Speaker's constituency and also doubles as a son of the late industrialist Adeosun Ogundoyi from Eruwa, Ibarapa area of the state.
All right, so it seems like a victory for the Not Too Young to Run move. And moving from Oyo and Plateau States to Kwara, where Yakubu Danladi, a 34-year-old representing Ilesha Guanara constituency, emerged as Speaker of Kwara State House of Assembly. Danladi was nominated by Sahid Pupola of Balogu or Jomo constituency of a local government area of the state. The new Speaker emerged after Abok Ayuba, a 33-year-old final year student of University of Jos, became Speaker of Plateau House of Assembly, and 32-year-old Debo Ogundoyi from Oyo State, the accounts that Debbie read. Now, this made headlines because there has been a drive. There's been a lot of talk about young people taking positions of authority. And so when you have a couple of 30-something-year-olds elected as speakers for different state houses of assembly, it kind of sounds like good news. But then, let's go to where it all started. With us in the studio is Ebenezar Wikina, that's a name you should know. For the sake of this conversation, he is the steering committee member, not too young to run, but his profile actually reads, mobile survey journalist, development practitioner who is famous for interviewing over 120 world leaders. Every time I read this line, I ask myself, did he do it by the hour? How do you rack up those numbers, Ebenezar?
Well, it was slow but steady.
Okay.
It went on for about 2 years.
All right.
So two to 3 years, and yeah.
All right. Thanks for joining us. Good morning.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity.
Always a pleasure. So, you're one of the people that were making noise for not too young to run.
Yes, we were. Social media and very engagements with members of the House and National Assembly. Yes.
So, when the bill eventually became an act, did it feel like a victory?
It did. It did feel like a victory. It was a big victory for young people because it's the first time ever that we've had young people. I mean, we've had young people from throughout Nigeria's history. The nationalist movement, the independence movement. Young people have been at the center of it, but young people haven't come out to protect their interests in that manner. So we had young people come together, rally around each other. Social media. We had people in Abuja. We had people going from walks in various states. We had state coordinators, organizing marches and everything. So it was really good because it was an indication that young people have power. Okay. And so if we actually agree to do something, things can actually change. It began as a social media campaign, hashtag, and then eventually became what it is today. Yeah.
All right. Now, I understand that Not Young to Run movement was a Nigerian thing, and now it's a global thing.
Yeah, it is.
That's very commendable.
Yeah, very. I mean, YAGA, the organization that is frontlining the campaign, had done so much work, in trying to get international attention and recognition to the campaign. Now, so the UN Youth Envoy during the time, I think that's 2016 or so, thought that, I mean, this is something that I think other countries also have challenges with, in Africa and also some other parts of the world. So why not just scale it globally, So at the event in Geneva, there was that agreement, and so that's how we moved on.
Is there a part of you that looks in the mirror and said, I've pushed something that got global?
Yes.
Do you ever say that to yourself?
It was good, but I feel like the job is not done. Okay. I feel like we've crossed the first hurdle because our challenge was, first of all, breaking that glass ceiling, making sure there's no prohibition, there's no inhibition. You can call, the people you've been calling 34, 32, 31, 33, Before now, 2015, you didn't hear names like this. There were very few.
Sure.
But now you have more people. So the plan is that, for the next phase of election, we have the next 4 years to plan and prepare. So for the next election, we'll have even more young people, doing the right thing. And even those who are in power now, they will have a good agenda to run with. They wouldn't just, mix in with the crowd and then just get lost in the conversation.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Would you say that young people, especially in Nigeria, are ready for leadership, judging from the recent situations and experiences that we have, had in Nigeria?
Yes and no. Yes, because I've met several young people that are beginning to lead, companies who are leading. Maybe not leading states and constituencies, but they are beginning to lead things around them. I know people who have built startups from the ground and are, becoming national companies now, employing people, over 70 people all across the nation. I know young people who are, leading movements around their communities. I know young people who are leading organizations, NGOs, working with the SDGs for the various goals. So, and also young people who are not also ready. So we wouldn't focus on the not ready. We are focusing on the ready. That's why we said not too young to run. And then there is a new movement called Ready to Run, which is also being moved by YAGA. And the plan is to prepare the young people for office. So we are saying we're not too young to run. The bill had been signed and everything had worked. So now there's no glass ceiling. How then do you run? What is the steps you should take? So that's it. So I think organizations like YAGA are doing well, but I think young people actually need to prepare themselves to run. We made a lot of noise when the campaign was going on, but you notice that there's less and less noise.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good thing to remind ourselves that yes, it's a success, it's a victory, but we need to work on ourselves now. Those young people who are not yet in power, those young people who are planning to contest in 4 years' time. I was telling someone outside, and this is the time to actually start. You don't need to wait to 2020. This is the time to start your campaign. This is the time to start your work, and prepare for the political office.
All right. How is it that experience is important for everything but politics?
I think experience is important for politics as well.
Okay.
Maybe not experience on the scale of leading. I mean, you necessarily do not need to lead, become president to be president, right? But at least you should have led smaller groups of people, organizations, a smaller constituency before you then grow on to the president. That's a textbook thing, but it's not always how it's not always how things work. So I believe young people need experience, but we can already see young people who are already getting experience from various fields. Like I'm a member of the Port Harcourt Global Shapers community, and it's a community funded by the World Economic Forum. And every year, each one of the shapers takes turns to lead the hub for 1 year. There's an election, there's campaigning and everything, just like we have for the national elections and state elections. And just the experience of leading 40, 30 young people who are amazing in their field, they're comedians and artists and musicians and all of that, just trying to work on projects. It just shows you that, there's a lot more to leadership than saying you want to run.
Very true. That's my concern. As much as we're celebrating this, let's not ignore the realities.
Yeah.
Inspiring followership is not something that you just get because you look a certain way.
Yeah.
There are things that make a boss, not because they occupy an office. It's what they've shown
over time.
Exactly. Certain kind of experience, certain kind of way they handle stuff. And you don't get this overnight. You don't get it because you're a part of a campaign. Do you think that the young people, even though they look ready to lead, have what it takes to inspire followership? To stand in a position where people literally want to sign up to that service or follow that person.
Yeah, I think we do. I'll use one example. So the Oyo State's speaker, the Speaker House of Representatives, he was a member. He was a member of the House for 1 year. Right. We heard about the death of the previous person in the constituency and everything.
Yeah.
And when he eventually became speaker, it was news to all of us. But for me, I saw it coming because he was the only PDP person who returned in that constituency, in that house. He had been there before. There were new people who came on, and so I saw it as a chance for me. I knew that he had this chance. If he could speak to people and inspire them, he would definitely get it, and he was able to do that. They're older than him. He's the youngest person there, so people who are like his father's age, I'm sure he could talk to them. If he was able to do that, and they actually allowed him to be speaker, then it means that young people have that ability.
I think for him the vote was unanimous.
It was. Yes, it was. So it's been shown there. It's been shown across the country as well. There are several examples in the north as well of young people who are speaking to the old people. Not old people now, but the older generation.
Yeah.
To dialogue and to speak as people who they can learn from, people who they can be inspired from, and they can also get them to also inspire people into power. So yes, young people have the power to. If we work on it.
All right, we're still discussing Not Too Young to Run, a vision or a mission. Further conversations, and you can also join the conversation by calling in live or sending a message. Whatever questions you might have, whatever contributions you might want to make, that'll be after the break. Don't go away.
Get in tune with the trending stories. Have conversations with the experts. Ask the questions you've always wanted to and get a bite at lunch. The Midday Dialogue gives the opportunity to explore. 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Weekdays on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
So the Midday Dialogue on 92.3 Nigeria Info, not too young to run a vision or a mission. Well, according to our guest today, we have experienced a major breakthrough, having to break the glass ceiling, in his words. But what is the future of young leadership in Nigeria? Apart from being ready, can you say that we will be reliable leaders in Nigeria? Now you can be a part of the conversation by calling in live 084-461-923, 0809-597-5764, 0818-132-6597, or 0818-132-6575. You can also send a message on WhatsApp to 0809-030-6416.
Remember to turn off your radio as you call us. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, my brother.
Morning, what's your name?
Yeah, Forum from Chi.
All right, talk to us.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen that some young persons are emerging into leadership seats as to deliver to what the masses are expecting them to do. Well, I think it is equally no bad thing to agitate for not too young to rule or govern. But another difficult thing there is to be equal to the task, to say this is what you need to do, not by agitating first. Then when it gets to you, it seems as if, the sky is your limit as regards to what your personal interest is. It's just like what we have in university here, for example. We have like Public Complaint Commission, which before now, we've never had such, the current commissioner, which is Honorable Masha Israel, we've never had such a person, such type of youth manning such position or such commission before. But coming as the federal commissioner in charge of Public Complaint Commission and University, we have visibly seen different changes, positive changes that is happening, and it's
okay.
Well,
And something happened. Frank is on the line from Waterlines. Good morning, Frank.
Hello, good morning, Arab.
Morning, how you doing?
I'm okay, and you?
Wonderful.
Yeah, guys, what's up?
Good morning, Frank.
Fine. Okay, to be sincere with you, Chinedu, I'm not excited with the so-called not too young campaign. Why did I say this? I think either you or the guest in the studio made a statement. Elections have ended. All the hype, all the noise making on social media have quietly washed away. Rotimi Amechi was a speaker in this state in his 30s. Yeso Wike was a local government chairman in his early 30s. Now we have to speak.
Frank, are you there? I think we lost them.
I feel like the lines are very sensitive to words. And then when you say certain things like, yo, hold on. Ebenezar, would you like to react to that?
So the first caller talked about the fact that young people are beginning to show some kind of innovation in the public sector or something like that. And I think that's also one of the advantages that we have as young people. That was one of the things we sold in this campaign, the fact that we're current, we have technology on our side, and we can use these solutions or this technological innovation to bring solutions to governance processes. Because I mean, I worked in the public sector for a while, and I noticed that the paper way of doing things, and the signing in, signing out way has still been a thing for a very long time. And that's just one thing that I think young people can change. So when I look at the agenda for youth in the coming term, I always look at the fact that technology is a very big tool that we can use, and so I'm urging them to look at it as a solution, as something they can use to create solutions for us. Yeah.
Okay. Another concern, and I have a lot. Trust me.
Yeah, you do. I know.
Is loyalty.
Okay.
You understand that if I believe that I have time on my hands, I can be experimental with some things. Let's say in the civil service, you're supposed to do what you do till maybe 60. The options I have as a 20-something or 30-something-year-old will be more than somebody who's 40, 50. Yeah. So with youth comes that risk of using us to play 10-10, if you understand what I mean.
Yes, I understand.
So are you concerned that, with age and time on the side of young people, they might be open to making a lot of wrong decisions?
Okay. No, I'm not, because young people have advisors, and because of the kind of government that we operate, there are checks and balance. There's a legislative arm, there's a judiciary arm. So those things will always check us when we begin to. I mean, young people always have exuberance. You can trust us to trying to try things here and there. But thank God for the government structure we have. I believe that will help to check most of those excesses.
Okay.
And then it's also good for. I was speaking with someone a few weeks ago, and I said it will be good for young people to also get good advisors, whether they're young, people who can advise them. For those people who are already speakers in their house and the house of assembly. We actually need advisors. As much as we feel like we have everything on our side, we might not have the wisdom that many people have had for a couple of years now. So we need those advisors. So advisors, the judiciary, the legislative, those checks and balances can always help. So.
But don't you think that would obviously open the door to godfatherism?
That's another angle.
No kidding.
Angle. Yeah, that's another angle. So my thought on godfatherism is, I think even in the US there's a godfatherism.
Godfatherism
is a political
it
thing.
plays out differently in Nigeria.
Yes,
we do know
yes,
that.
yes.
And then
Yes, it
having to, bring into play the energy that young people carry, the creativity, and just like Sam said, being able to risk whatever it takes, because we're young and energetic.
Time,
Don't you think it's going to make it worse?
It could swing in one way and it could swing in the other way. So it could swing one way which is why I'm very happy about the young people who have gone into power now, because right from their campaigns, right from when most of them bought their forms, we had been with them. When I mean we, like the Not Too Young to Run movement, the Ready to Run movement, had been with them in constant communication. There had been the convergence and events in Abuja. There's been a convergence 2.0 as well when they won, just to check and make sure that there's that follow-up.
They better not mess up.
There's that follow-up, because they are the prototype. They are the lab rats. So, I mean, if they make a mistake, it could show wrongly on the campaign and the people who have been working. So godfatherism, like I said, is very hard to take away. But as much as possible, I believe with follow-up from the movement, with follow-up from society, we actually need to just hold them accountable. I mean, this godfatherism thing happens when people are not held accountable.
So what happens when a person maybe falters in a certain way? What happens when you said, judging from when you said holding them accountable? So what will be done if one person in a particular state of power does something they're not supposed to do?
Well, I believe there are provisions in the law for checking people. So before things get to the impeachment level, there are petitions, there are things you can write.
Steps.
I mean, there's steps you can always follow, to check people. I mean, there's social media these days as well.
All right.
Vincent is on the line from Malacca here. He's been on the line for a while. Good morning, Vincent.
Yeah, good morning.
Thanks for holding on.
It's all right. I just want to make an observation.
All right.
I feel that we need to draw a line between the campaign about not young to rule that excited a lot of young people like myself, and the result that we are seeing in the political landscape today. Now we have a governor in Nigeria. He's the person of Yahya Bello of Kogi State. He's a very young governor. Now the question is this: was it in a clearly democratic setting that brought him to power? The answer is no. Then we also talked about the speaker, one of the speakers now, who is a young person around the 30s. Now, I heard from your studio there, or before now even, that person came to power as a result of an incident. Then we're also talking about the emergence as a speaker. Did it happen on a clearly democratic process, or this lobbying, okay, because this person is from here and then it's not from here, so let us allow these people to rule. And right now, among all of them in this particular side, it's this side that should be favored now, and then it fell to him. Or is it based on his credibility and on the ground that, okay, this not young to rule bill that has been passed, we have to implement it.
Okay.
Now, if you ask me, I would say that having passed that particular bill, we should have a situation where we now say, okay, out of 100%, 20% position should be compulsorily for the young people. That is when I cannot celebrate that. All the effort that we put in to ensure that the young people emerge in the political space and other leadership positions. We cannot say yes, we are celebrating.
Can you hear me? Hello?
In pushing for not young to rule.
Hello, Vincent.
A truly democratic society, not the nonsense that is happening in our National Assembly and other places.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I feel like when they call, they just shut their ears to.
He just wants to say what he has.
I was going to ask him something. I'm sure you'll react to that. If the sentiment that brought some people into positions is it takes anything away from the ability to lead.
Yes, I mean, I would say, there are a couple of incidences that were by chance.
Yeah.
But they are very, very minute. I have an infographic here in front of me that just shows you, gives you a bird's eye view of the young people in the House of Representatives. We have it scattered all over. There are people all over. And this was based on work. So people who campaigned, who had posters.
How many people do we have there?
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
So 12, 10, somebody had to die. The other one, they picked somebody's grandfather. And the 12th is just because they liked his face.
Yeah.
Let's just say everybody got in there.
So you had more people who had to do the work. And it's politics. Many things happen by chance. Many things happen by circumstances. So it's just that they are young people. So that's why.
All right. Well, it's 14 minutes on the clock. You can join the conversation by calling in live or sending a message on WhatsApp 0809-030-6416.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Yes, this is the ambassador calling from Bayelsa.
Okay.
Candidate Kowa Party State House of Assembly 2019. I want to add a voice to this campaign of not too young to run and ready to run. When we participated in the Convergence 2019, organized by Yaga Africa, funded by UKA. On the first day, there was provision for 400 youth candidates all over the country. But on the first day alone, we had 486 participants in one convergence. Youth candidates, all youth candidates of various political parties. And then on day 2, because the additional number above 400, they had glitches during the screening exercise. There was a diminishing return on the second day. They had 438 candidates on the second day. Now, after that campaign, that convergence, most of us are running from third parties. We are not from the big two, neither APC nor PDP. Funding is an issue. We raised several issues with Yaga Africa to support us, even if it's just printing the posters and help us with jingles to make some noise. So let us look at the success story after that convergence. The cases we are talking about, the speakers of your state, of Kwara, of Plateau State speaker was with us in that convergence. But that is an isolated case. Let us look at the success story. In River State, we have Honorable Jumle Mao, who was also with us. In the convention, he's now a member of the State House Assembly from the PDP. The speakers and the people we are all talking about, they are from the big parties. So out of 400 candidates, youth candidates, what is the success story? How many candidates actually emerged after that engagement? That's where I expect our advocacy to start from. And strengthen it going forward. Because if you take a survey, you will find out that we are not even up to 30 nationwide out of 400. If it was President Muhammadu Buhari performing like that, we would say he has failed. But we are making progress.
All right, thank you very much. We have to let you go. Thanks for making that point. So he's talking about
very, very good point. Yes.
stats, figures, percentage.
Stats, figures, yes. I mean, if you look at it overall, I mean, the reason why I'm being very optimistic is because this has never happened before in Nigeria. If you look at it overall, if we compare the number of candidates, he said 400 plus. Yes, we had 400 plus at the convergence versus the number of people who got into power under 30 or maybe at least 40. You would say maybe we have a very huge disparity, but I would say it's a very good first step. Many people had funding issues. Yes. Naturally. I mean, campaigns are very expensive. Buying forms are very expensive. You know, even becoming a candidate is very expensive. Yeah. So I would say it's a good step that we can learn from the successes of those who got in, which is what IAGA had been pushing, which is what the movement has been pushing. Just drawing those lessons from those who won, and then using those lessons to prepare for those who are going to come in, you know, in the next 4 years. So I don't looking at the big picture. You might feel like there's a huge disparity, and so we were not very successful. But I'm very, very optimistic because I had seen this move from, you know, just chit chats on social media, you know, to become something that people are beginning to emerge.
So your defense is don't look at where we are, look at where we started.
Look at where we started and look at where we're going.
Okay.
Look at where we're going.
All right. We have a message on Facebook from Obiajunwa Gifts, and this person says, sorry to say this, the youth are not ready to rule. They are a tool for destruction of youth, the fight and kill for the same people they are accusing for them to achieve their purpose of occupying public office. #shame.
Oh.
Moving from Facebook to WhatsApp, Gabby and Sam, you're such a wonderful pair. Oh, really? I had no idea. Always with your topical issues. Good morning. The not too young to run will eventually become a revolution in Nigeria in time, like a careless Hamatan fire. All we need from the youths are commitment and dedication, coupled with support from the National Assembly to remodel the electoral process to a more digitized, credible, free and fair election process. When the votes of the people can count to choose their leaders via a transparent process, then there's more hope for the not too young to run. Yes, we can. It is possible. We can dethrone the old wagons. SLK. It seems like a Martin Luther-esque kind of speech.
Well, from SLK to Roland Owosa, who says, not too young to run is not the problem we're having in Nigeria. The question is, are the young willing to do things differently from what the older ones are doing? The last time I checked, James Iburi was young when he became governor. Orji Uzokalu, Ovie Omoagege, Chibikwe Amechi, Wike, Godswill Pabio, and so many others out there. These guys really didn't represent the call for the youth to run. They ended up being rubber stamp to the older politicians.
All right, just like you have said that the young guys now are the lab rats, I'm guessing the person who sent that message is not quite satisfied with the ones before them. Giving an opportunity to younger ones to run for an elective or appointed position is a good thing, but most cases they cannot deliver. Awanete Clinton West. 8 minutes on the clock. We'll take 1 or 2 calls and wrap it up with Mr. Ebenezar. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. I'm JD.
JD, morning.
Good morning, Gabriella.
Good morning.
Yeah, I want to say that young does not necessarily mean better. Leadership is not about young or old. It's all about character. It's all about your conscience. It's all about that determination to do the right thing. It's all about selflessness, to think about the people whom you are leading. So it's not going to do with young or old. If we want to focus on, okay, young is good, then we're getting it wrong. Young is not necessarily good. We have a lot of bad young people out there who are just bent on killing, cultism, naming people and all that. We have young corrupt people who are out there. And we have old people who are still good. So let's not just, I hate to be the party people. I hate to be the party people, but let's tell ourselves the truth.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. A quick message just popped in on WhatsApp. This says, giving an opportunity to the younger ones to run for an elective or appointed position.
We're taking this,
I think we've taken that already. Oh, yes, this one. Good morning, all in the studio. I am and will continue to be a strong advocate of young people taking leadership positions. However, leadership is not eloquence, public speaking, number of acquired degrees, and so on. The cardinal issue of leadership in Nigeria is beyond the age of people in leadership, but bad leadership occasioned by structural defects in governance. We've had lots of young people who were even more corrupt than the old leaders. What are we doing to depart from the ugly trend? That's from Manson.
Thank you very much, Manson. Now, I'd like to quote someone who sent a message on WhatsApp, SLK. He says, we can dethrone the old wagons. This now seems like a movement that may be confused. So the question now is, what is the goal? Is it a diversified assembly made up of young and old people, or a movement to flush out the old and, put in the young? What exactly are we looking at with the not too young to run and ready to rule and all that?
Yes, so the vision pretty much is much more than just getting young people into power. Is making sure that young people are also given a chance to decide their future. I mean, we've always heard that we are the leaders of tomorrow, we are the future, we are the tomorrow, and tomorrow has actually never ever come until this movement came on. So the idea is just make sure young people have the power to decide their future. Whether we have more young people in the assembly or not is something that's left for more discussion. The caller said something that we've been telling ourselves for a very long time. The fact that you're young doesn't mean that you're better, right? Most people have confused the campaign to mean that when we say we're young, it means that we're better than everybody else. But you can never rule out the parts of wisdom, of experience, and everything. So we're not saying, oh, all the young people go away, all the young people come on because you're going to be better. But we just want to make sure that young people are not not withheld. They have the power to choose who elect, who they want to lead them, and they have the power to also to be chosen. So they can also go out there and then say, I want to run for XYZ thing. So I think in closing, the focus is actually being on setting the agenda for the young people. We want to see that the young people in these various positions actually look out for young people, issues that concern young people a lot more, because these are issues that have not gotten as much lookout or as much focus as we would like in recent years. Unemployment, for example, what solutions can we create in unemployment? What legislative solutions, what solutions in the state level can be created? Youth restiveness. I mean, when you have people say it is a byproduct of unemployment, but when you have young people used as conflict merchants, in various communities, how can we gainfully employ young people? How can we even help the basic one that is a menace now? How can we basically help the relationship between young people and the service, police people, the SAS people, etc.? So those kind of issues are issues that we want these young legislators to begin to push and begin to run. So the agenda is being set for them. There's so much anticipation. I know many people want them to fail, but we want them to succeed. We want them to succeed and to win, because there would be a look back point. You can always say XYZ person was there, and so if he did it, then I can also do it.
All right.
Yeah.
3 minutes on the clock. We can't take any more calls. If we have messages, we'll read them. Ebenezer, what steps must we take from this point moving forward? And we're talking practical steps.
If you say we, that's all of us, or as a nation, as a movement.
Well, the thing is, any of the groups you list, I would happen to make the cut. Young people, I'm there. Nigerian, I'm there.
Yeah. Old people, you're there.
What about old people?
Old people, it
depends. It depends.
Yeah. So I would say generally we should applaud ourselves for getting this far, but we shouldn't be. We shouldn't rest. We shouldn't get too comfortable. This is just the first step. There's still a lot more to do. We still need to improve our education system. The reason why we don't have enough young people who have enough substance is because we're not training them correctly. We're not training them rightly. So our education system is something that still needs to be worked on, because what we have or what we get eventually is a product of our education system. The intellectual capacity of our leaders, it just shows you what our system is like. So we need to work on that. We need to encourage more young people to vie for political position, or to be even engaged in the political process. So instead of election day, instead of playing football on the street, why not go and vote? Why not go for that town hall meeting? Why not know what your leader is doing? Why not know about the budget? Why not download the budget from the website? So just making sure that they are involved in the process a lot more is a huge awareness. Yeah. Not just saying it's their thing. Whenever they want to eat the money, we're gonna share with them. Making sure that they're involved in the entire process.
All right, 1 minute on the clock. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Gabby.
Ebenezar Wikina.
Thank you.
Pleasure having you here. Eric is here for the news at 11. Right afterwards, the Midday Dialogue continues with Energy Platform.
I'm going away.
Set your time on Nigeria Info, the correct time. It's 11 o'clock.
Africa Now on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Africa Now.
From your number one talk, news and sports radio station, 92.3 Nigeria Info. Good morning. It's Africa Now, and I am Eric Baroni. The UN's children's charity, UNICEF, says children were used as suicide bombers in a triple suicide attack in BORONI, northeast Nigeria on Sunday. At least 30 people were killed and over 40 were injured in the same attack. According to UNICEF, multiple reports showed that the attack was carried out by a boy and 2 girls. Their ages are not yet known. The attack happened outside a hall where people were gathered to watch television in a town of Konduga. The UN agency said 5 children have been used in suicide attacks since the beginning of the year. It said in 2018, 48 children were used as human bombs, including 38 girls. Former Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi has been buried after he collapsed in court and died yesterday. His lawyer said the former leader had been buried in eastern Cairo early today with his family present. Morsi, who was 67, had been in custody since his removal from office in 2013. Human rights groups who had criticized the condition in which he was kept have called for an impartial investigation into his death. His family and activists had repeatedly raised concerns about his health and the amount of time he was kept in solitary confinement, away from visits by lawyers and family. A group of Ethiopian lawyers are planning to sue the country's state-run monopoly telecoms provider over the internet shutdown, which is now in its 8th day. They argue that it amounts to denying citizens access to information, which they say is unconstitutional. The blackout, which began last Tuesday, is affecting many parts of the country. The service resumed in the capital Addis Ababa on Friday afternoon, but appears to be down in much of the rest of Ethiopia. Tanzania's Interior Minister, Kangi Lugoga, has told policemen to stop assaulting motorcycle taxi riders. Members of parliament have complained that police are stopping the riders, known as Boda Boda drivers, over traffic offences and then beating them up. Minister Lugola told the parliament that policemen are only allowed to give them a fine, but should not beat them or confiscate their motorcycles. And finally, the Ministry of Health in Kenya has confirmed that there is no Ebola in the country. It said laboratory results from the blood samples of a 36-year-old patient who was taken into isolation on Sunday were negative of the Ebola virus. Her husband and 2 other contacts had also been quarantined. Health workers in the southwestern town of Kericho said they acted out of caution in isolating the patient. She had a fever, headache, sore throat and was vomiting, symptoms that would indicate the presence of a number of infections, including Ebola. For any eyewitness report and breaking news, call, text and send your WhatsApp pictures and videos to our news desk line on 0818 900 0017. And that's Africa Now at 11 o'clock from your number one talk, news and sports radio station, 92.3 Nigeria Info. Join us at 12 noon for our major bulletin. I am Eric Baroni. Thanks for listening and good morning.